DTUtil, or the DT utility, is a command line utility that allows you to manage a package from a command prompt. DTUtil allows you to copy, delete, or move integration services packages. You can also encrypt and decrypt packages for enhanced security of sensitive package information, things like passwords. You can also use the utility to verify that a particular package exists, change its package ID GUID, and sign it with a digital certificate. DTUtil is an important tool in your full integration services toolkit. The utility enables you to access all storage types, including the file system, the integration services package store, or SQL Server MSDB database. You can use DTUtil to move packages around in the file system, between machines, or between the file system and SQL Server. It really is a pretty flexible and versatile utility. Now, when you run DTUtil to manage a package, you'll usually need to reference a package's storage type with one of three parameters. The first one is /file, and this, of course, is if the package is stored in the file system. The second is /SQL, if the package is stored in the SQL Server in the MSDB database, and /DTS if it's stored in the package store. And by the way, the package store really is a special case of the file system deployment, although I tend to use it to encompass the non-SSIS catalog storage features of integration services. But with file system deployment, you can deploy a package to any arbitrary place on the file system. But with the package store, strictly speaking, you can store packages in the default SQL Server install location. So it really is just a specific location where you're storing that. And generally that's C program files or the 32-bit version of it, Microsoft SQL Server 120 for SQL Server 2014, DTS packages. Okay? And that assumes that you're installing SQL Server to its default location. Now, if you're accessing an instance of SQL Server, such as to access the MSDB database, that requires SQL authentication, then you'll need to provide a username and password to access the instance when you're using DTUtil. You provide the username and password using the source U for source user and /source P for source password. And that's going to be targeted at the destination server. If you need to access anything but the default instance of SQL Server on the local machine, you can also specify the /source server or /dest server parameters, or both with the name of the machine and instance. And when you install integration services, the installer adds the path to DTUtil and to many other SQL Server tools and utilities to the Windows path environment. So you don't have to worry about typing in the full path to the utility. Now, if you execute a command using DTUtil, if the command succeeds, you'll get a message to the effect that the operation completed successfully. Otherwise, it'll provide error information. And the utility sets an error code that you can use in batch files to verify that an action completed successfully. And this is the list of the available values. So 0, executed successfully, 1, failed, 4, can't locate the requested package, 5, can't load the requested package. That usually means there's some sort of dependent file that's missing or something like that. And 6, can't resolve the command line. It contains either syntactic or semantic errors. And also, you probably generally need to run Management Studio and DTUtil as a system administrator. But that's going to depend upon the security environment of your instance of Windows and how you've configured security. So let's take a look at several examples of DTUtil commands in order to perform various operations on packages. Alright, so the first example instructs DTUtil to go to the file system and copy the specified package to the local MSDB system database. So it specifies the destination with the SQL string, SQL semicolon string, that precedes the new name, and it uses the copy parameter to do that. Alright, so it's going to copy it from the file system, DTUtil/file. You have to provide the path, the full path, to the package. In this case, it's called execute_SQL.dtsx. And then the copy parameter specifies the location, and it'll be called deployment SQL within MSDB. Okay, then the second command moves the package from the file system to the MSDB database. So once again, specifies file and the name of the package, and then specifies the move parameter, and then the name of the package, here deployment SQL1, that will exist within the MSDB database. And then you can also move a package back to the file system using a similar command, once again using the move parameter, specifying that it's stored in SQL Server, and then you have to use the file name, or the file keyword with a semicolon, and a full path to export that deployment.dtsx file. Okay, and you can also move a package in one store to the same store, giving it a different name. And that's a fairly common scenario because you may have a package implemented a particular way, but then you can change how the package executes, setting some of its behavioral properties. The next example verifies that the deployment SQL package now exists within the SQL Server storage. So you just use /SQL, the name of the package, and then /exists. And then the response is the specified package exists, or the specified package does not exist. And then finally, you can delete a package, in this case from MSDB, using dtutil/SQL, the name of the package, as you put it within the storage, and /delete. Okay, so that's a sampling of dtutil commands. Now, if you attempt to move or copy a package to a location where a package with the name already exists, then dtutil will prompt you to confirm that you want to overwrite the existing package. If you include the quiet parameter /quiet, the utility will overwrite the destination package without asking. Okay, so now let's talk about managing packages with Management Studio. So you're not limited to using the command line tools for managing integration services. You can use Management Studio to perform some management operations, doing things like importing, exporting, and deleting packages, regardless of their location. You can transfer packages from one location type to another, or create a copy by importing a package into the same location and giving it a different name. You can also secure integration services packages by using existing database roles within the MSDB database to grant users access to packages. You can even execute packages directly from Management Studio. Now, you have to connect to the Integration Services service to use the package management tools in Management Studio, and that's as opposed to the database engine. When you first start Management Studio, you select Integration Services in the list at the top of the Connect to Server dialog box. Then, as when connecting to the database engine, you can provide the name of a SQL Server instance. Now, the authentication options are disabled when connecting to integration services because you can only connect using Windows Authentication, and you already need to be an integration services administrator. If Management Studio is already running, you can also click the Connect button at the top of Object Explorer and select Integration Services from the list. Now, when connecting to the Integration Services service, you can access packages through two folders, Running Packages and Stored Packages. The Running Packages folder provides a summary of all of the packages that are currently running on the server. And the Stored Packages folder provides access to all packages that are registered with the Integration Services Windows service. The Stored Packages folder contains two root folders for managing the storage of Integration Services packages, the File System folder and the MSDB folder. The File System folder lists the packages saved in the File Package Store System folder, but not packages stored elsewhere on the local machine. And the MSDB folder lists the packages saved in SQL Server in the MSDB database. And then, once you have access to those folders using Object Explorer, you can perform various actions on packages, including import and export, execute, delete, upgrade, set permissions, and rename a package. All these options are available when you right-click a package in Object Explorer, and a subset is available when you right-click a folder name. You can also see which packages are currently executing on this instance of SQL Server, the one that you're connected to using Management Studio. In that case, just expand the Running Packages node in Object Explorer to see a list of running packages. You might have to right-click the node and select Refresh from the pop-up menu if you stored any packages since starting Management Studio. You can also view some reports with more information about the package. In this exercise, I'm going to create a simple package using SQL Server Data Tools. Then I'll use Management Studio to import it into the MSDB database. I'll rename it and execute it, viewing information about the package as it executes. The package is going to be pretty simple. It'll contain a script task that displays 4 message boxes. Since the package waits for user input, it'll give us time to explore it in Management Studio. Alright, I'll create the new project, and I'll call this counter. And I'll name the package the same as the project. Alright, as I mentioned, it's going to be a very simple package. So I will drag over a script task and double click on it to open up the script task editor. I'm not going to use any variables in the script, so I can go directly and open the Vista development environment. And I'll remove the comment and put in my code. So this is just going to be a for loop. Use an integer I, set that equal to 1. I'm going to loop as long as it's less than or equal to 4, and increment I each time through. And then each time through the loop, I'm going to display a message box. And in waiting for that input, that's what's going to slow down or actually pause execution of the package so that we can play with it in Management Studio. Okay, save my changes, close the code editor, click on OK. Alright, and I'll go ahead and start it to test it out. 1, 2, 3, and 4. Okay. Package executes flawlessly. That's definitely a major benefit to keeping your packages as simple as possible. Alright, next thing I need to do is fire up Management Studio, but I need to run it as administrator. And I'll connect to an instance of integration services. I'll go to my local server, and as you can see, I have to use Windows authentication, so this part of the dialog box is disabled, and I can connect. Alright, I'll expand stored packages, and there you can see the 2 folders that I talked about, File System and MSDB. And I want to import a package from the File System, so I'm going to right-click here and Import Package, and that opens up this Import Package dialog box. I want to import from the file system, but I could do it from SQL Server or the package store as well. Just keep in mind that the package store really is just a special case of the file system. And then I can navigate to the package that I want to use. So sample files, name the project counter, and there's my package. Alright, here's where I can give it a unique name. The dialog box picks up the name of the package, but that's not necessary. I could call it something else if I want. But I'm going to accept the default here. And I'll click on OK. And we can go into the file system now, and there's counter. And a nice thing, in this particular case, Object Explorer refreshed itself, so we have access to the package right away. But if it didn't appear, I could come here, right-click, and select Refresh, and then it would appear. Alright, so let's take a look at some of the features now that I've imported this package into the file system store. So I can select it right there and change the name. So what this does is it counts 1 to 4, so I'll do counter 1 to 4. Alternatively, I could right-click on it and select Rename from the menu right there. It does the same thing. All right, if I want to execute it, I can right-click on it and select Run Package. I have a lot of options in this dialog box, but I don't need to really do anything with them for this very simple package. So I'll just click on Execute. And there's my first dialog, second, third, and fourth. And so you can see that the package executes just as flawlessly after I've imported it into Management Studio. Okay, so that's one execution. I'm going to go ahead and execute this again and just click past two dialog boxes. And then I'll go back over here to Management Studio and take a look at the Running Packages node here. So as you can see, right now there's a single package executing on this instance of SQL Server, specifically the Integration Services service. And this provides a way to monitor which packages are currently running. I can get more information about the package. Come down here to Reports, Standard Reports, and General. And that loads this report about this specific package. So you can see the package name. Notice that this is the original name of the package, not as it's currently called within Integration Services. Who executed it? Me. The execution instance, GUID. Execution started, the duration so far, and the package ID. Okay, so that's the report for the specific package. Another thing I can do is right-click on Running Packages, the folder, look at Standard Reports in General, and this will provide a table with a subset of that information about all running packages. Obviously, I only have one package executing on this instance still, and so I only have one item in the table. As you can see, the duration has gone up because the package has continued to execute. Even though it's in a pause state, it's still executing for the purposes of Integration Services. All right, I'm going to go back over to the package execution and click Past. Package execution completes. Come back over here, Running Packages, and refresh. And now there's no running packages because that package executed to completion.